And to break down the numbers, let's bring in Nik Nanos, the founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research. Nick, how are you?
Good, Roger. How you doing?
I am good. Boy, what a difference 6 months make, isn't it? Incredible, these numbers we're looking at for the Liberals.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe one way you could say it, if you're a Liberal, you're looking at these numbers and there might be a little pep in your step, right?
Absolutely.
33. But you know what, Roger? There's another way to look at these numbers, and I think it's probably the way I would kind of analyze what's going on. The fact of the matter is that all of the opposition parties are in complete disarray. So you might look at the numbers and think the Liberals are really strong, but the reality is that the opposition parties are weak. They're all still reeling from the last federal election. Pierre Poilievre still not in the House of Commons, and whoever is the prime minister has an advantage. It's tough to be the leader of the opposition. It's even tougher for the opposition parties to have an interim leader like they do right now, at least for the Conservatives with Andrew Scheer. So I think these numbers have a lot to do with the disarray of the opposition, the Conservatives, New Democrats. I'll put the Bloc in there because they saw a setback, rather than the strength of the Liberals.
And of course, if things change on the negotiations with the U.S., that could have an impact as well.
Oh, absolutely. Things could turn sour very quickly. And, the interesting thing is that for a lot of Canadians, they might have there's some capital that the Liberals have in order to try to deliver on a lot of the things that they promised, but, they've got to deliver. And, at the very top of the list are the trade negotiations and managing the binational relationship with the United States. If that goes sideways, if there's a view that we're kind of capitulating to the Americans without actually getting anything back, if there's a sense that the negotiations are not doing well, that could really turn the numbers around very quickly. But that said, there still needs to be an assertive opposition to kind of put a spotlight on that situation.
And we'll probably see that come the fall. But let's talk about preferred prime minister, Carney and Poilievre. Still a big gap there.
Yeah, 27-point gap between Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre. So this is a real honeymoon. 52% of Canadians would prefer Mark Carney as prime minister, followed by about 25% for Pierre Poilievre. And the thing is that Mark Carney has had an advantage over Poilievre from day one. And maybe this is one of the things for the Conservatives they have to think about. It's not just about getting Pierre Poilievre back. It's about building his brand so that he's more competitive with Mark Carney. And even during the last election, he trailed Mark Carney throughout the last election. And that's when the Conservatives, from a ballot perspective, did really well. So got to watch out for the leadership and how the Conservatives try to position their leader to be more competitive with Mark Carney.
Okay, and all that could change with the issues that Canadians are concerned about as well.
Yeah, and at the very top of the list, jobs and the economy and Trump. You roll up those two issues, and more than 1 out of every 3 Canadians would say that they're most concerned about jobs and the economy or Donald Trump and the binational relationship. Still, Canadians are worried about housing and healthcare and inflation and the environment, but really a fixation on jobs, the economy, Donald Trump. So think of every time that Donald Trump is in the news, Canadians are wondering, what does it mean for their job? What does it mean for their community? What does it mean for the future strength of the Canadian economy? And that's the curveball right now politically.
Okay. Nick, thank you as always, sir.
Take it easy, Roger.
Nik Nanos is the founder and chief data scientist at Nanos Research.